Chatters, chatties, welcome home for a Great American Chat, a podcast where we chat about great American media. I'm Chad Maurice, and today we are going to chat about the movie Love Can Surprise You, which premiered last weekend. But before we dive into that, we need to chat about Great American Pure Flix. Back in May, the merger between Great American Media and Pure Flix was announced, and just a couple days ago, they announced a name change for the PureFlix app. It's now going to be called Great American PureFlix. And if you want to read more about the merger, go to deadline.com and type in the search engine Great American PureFlix. There are a couple articles will pop up, and one of the articles is an interview with Bill Abbott, the CEO of Great American Media, where he talks about what viewers can expect from Great American Family, and also what's in store for the subscribers of Great American PureFlix, their streaming service. All right, let's get into Love Can Surprise You. This movie premiered on September 9th. Stars Camilla, Belle, and David Lafontaine. Directed by Brian K. Roberts and written by Shannon Latimer. The synopsis says Karina writes a popular love and romance column and is known as an expert in her field. When her boyfriend breaks up on the night Karina thought he might propose, she begins to question if she really knows anything about love. Enter new writing partner Liam, who ends up helping Karina rewrite her own love story. All right, here's our cast of characters. We have Karina. Now, I pronounce it Karina, but I think in the movie, she was rolling her R. And I think she was pronouncing her name Karina, something like that. Everyone else in the movie was just saying Karina. But she's a romance columnist, and she works for a website. Then we have Liam, Karina's new co-worker. We have Tom there in the upper right. That's Karina's boyfriend. In the lower left, you see there's a picture of Julia. That's Karina's sister. And then there's Frank and Marissa. That's Karina's mother and father. And then in the lower right, there's a picture of Milton. That is Liam's dad. So the movie opens up with some overhead shots of Chicago. We see Karina, our main character, doing yoga and listening to a podcast about love and taking notes in a notebook. We see a photoshopped picture on her dresser of her and her boyfriend. Oh man, I love these photoshopped pictures in these movies. You know, they take these actors and they take a picture of each actor and they Photoshop them together and they put a fake background behind them. You can always tell they're fake, but I love seeing them. She gets ready for work. She tells her sister, who apparently must live with her, that her boyfriend Tom is taking her out for a fancy dinner, and they talk about how he might propose. She heads to work at this website where she is a romance columnist. She goes into the break room and meets a new staff writer named Liam, who is drinking out of her coffee mug. He doesn't realize it is her mug, even though her picture is on it, along with her boyfriend's picture. She tells him she writes the romance column, and he insults her by saying, "Oh, well, that must be easy. You just copy and paste titles from the internet, like How to Tell He's the One or 10 Signs That He Really Loves You." He asks, "Who is this guy on this mug with you?" And she says, "That is Tom. He's my boyfriend. He's a lawyer." She keeps staring at him. Finally, he says, "I take it you want your cup back." She rolls an empty cup across the table to him. Oh, I loved that. I loved when she did that. You know, as far as meet cutes go, this is not the friendliest meet cute, but this is a funny one. I love how he doesn't give her cup back right away, even after she says, "That's my cup." he just keeps drinking out of it. And I like how he insults her when he finds out that she writes the romance column, like it doesn't take any skill to write that column, like anyone could do it. At the end of the scene, get this. Yeah, at the end of the scene, she gets her cup back. She puts it in the sink and she doesn't even wash it. She doesn't even run water in it. She just puts it in the sink dirty. I would have been washing that baby right away. She and Liam attend a staff meeting, and she tells her boss that she is going to do an article about speed dating. Hold on a minute, gotta check something. Okay. Whoops. Wait a minute. My notes are flying all over the place. Okay. They talk about the series Karina has been writing called Me and T, about her and her boyfriend's relationship. I think it should be called Me and Mr. T. I pity the fool. Karina hints to everyone that he may propose and that there may be a significant installment on the horizon. Her boss tells her that she wants Liam to collaborate with her on her love and romance column to get a male perspective. And Karina is just thrilled. Not. She gets on the phone with her mother, and her parents are all excited about Tom taking her out for a fancy dinner date. Her mother says, maybe we can combine our anniversary party with an engagement party for you. Then we meet Liam's father, who's a big-time gardener, and is opening up his garden to the community. Liam tells him about work and how they stuck him with the love and romance columnist and how he isn't happy about that. Now, did you recognize the actor playing Liam's father? His name is Neil Crone, and he played Ronnie Stewart on the series When Hope Calls. Karina goes to the restaurant to meet Tom for this fancy dinner. And she's all dressed up. But before she can even get in the restaurant, he breaks up with her. She says, what are you talking about? You were supposed to propose to me tonight. We've been together for 5 years. He says, we haven't been us for a long time. I thought you felt it too. She says, nope. She starts writing a top 10 list in her notebook, and we get a voiceover throughout the rest of the movie as she writes about the 10 truths about love. She says, number 1, love can surprise you, because she was surprised by the breakup with Tom. She tells her boss there is not going to be any more Me and T series because Tom broke up with her. Her boss says, oh no, you better take the rest of the day off. She begins to question if she knows anything about love. She goes back and reads older articles she wrote and tells her sister there is an overlap between signs someone is going to propose and signs that someone is going to break up with you. What if I got the signs wrong, she says. What if I don't know what I'm talking about? Her parents tell her they are going to renew their vows at their anniversary party, and they ask her if she will give her a speech. She listens to her love podcast and hears a story about a woman who fought to get her boyfriend back after he broke up with her. So she decides to get Tom back because, you should always take love advice from a podcaster, right? Yeah, if I gave you some love advice, you would always take it, right? Next day, she tells her sister that Tom made a mistake and she is going to get him back. She writes in her notebook, number 2, love means being all in. She and Liam go to speed dating to do research for their column, and we get a funny scene about them trying to make small talk with their dates. Karina gives Liam the thumbs up as her date runs away from her. That was pretty funny. She tells Liam Tom broke up with her, and he is surprised. He says, what? He broke up with you? Yeah. I'd be surprised too. That's exactly what I was thinking. Who would break up with her? She's really pretty. And a fun personality too. She tells Liam she's going to get Tom back. And he doesn't think that she can do it on her own. So he offers to help her. Karina says no, but then gives in and reluctantly agrees for him to help her. Liam says, how are you going to get him back? She says, I'm going to find out what went wrong and fix it. Liam says, like a car or a broken toaster. You see, this is your problem. She says, you've known me for 2 days and you know my problem? Now, this scene right here, the back and forth banter in this scene reminds me so much of the movie When Harry Met Sally, which is my favorite rom-com. The beginning of that movie, When Harry Met Sally, when they're traveling from Chicago to New York, they stop and they eat at this little diner. And Harry tells Sally that being high maintenance is her problem. And she says, I don't have a problem. So this scene right here, the speed dating scene when they're going back and forth, when Liam tells her she has a problem and she says, no, I don't. It reminds me so much of that movie. She writes in her notebook number 3, love takes hard work. Liam comes up with the idea that she should give Tom's belongings back to him, all the stuff that he left in her apartment. She begins texting him while Liam stands over her shoulder, and he's correcting all of her phrasing and punctuation. Tom stops by her office to pick up his stuff, and Karina won't let go of the box when he tries to take it. Of course, this signifies that she's not ready to let go of Tom. She starts planning her parents' wedding. She tells them she might be getting back together with Tom, and they warn her to be careful. Her sister tries to tell her indirectly that getting back together with Tom is not a good idea. She meets Liam on a park bench, and they have a conversation about donuts and how she can match a guy to the type of donuts he eats. She tells him what kind of donut he is based on his personality. She says, you're a classic glazed, no nonsense kind of guy. She also says that guys who get a sugar-coated donut, ironically, don't sugarcoat anything. He glances at her donut and starts to say something, and she stops him and says, I don't want to know. This is a cute scene. I love the writing in this scene. Now, if you were a donut, what kind of donut would you be? I think I would be one of those plain donuts with no sugar on it. You know, one of those donuts that you choke on when you're trying to swallow it because it's so dry. Because that's me. I'm not sweet, I'm dry, and I choke people up. Or maybe people want to choke me. She says, let's put speed dating on the back burner for now. Let's do an article about 15 unique date ideas. So they go on their first date, pedal boating. They begin pedaling a boat around this pond, and they start arguing, and they're not paying any attention to where they're going. And they ride right into a fountain that's in the middle of the pond. Now imagine filming this scene. Imagine the crew saying to her, look, we're going to put you in a fancy dress, and then we're going to drown you in water, and you're going to be wet, cold, and uncomfortable for the next 3 hours. She agrees to let Liam choose one of the date ideas, so they wind up going fishing. She asks, what does fishing have to do with her and Tom? Liam says nothing. Fishing is just about being in the moment and enjoying nature. She says, if you know so much about love, how come you don't have any life? He says, just because I'm an expert at the game doesn't mean I have to participate. Ooh, this scene right here. Ooh, man. The look she was giving him during this scene, when he has his arms wrapped around her, teaching her how to cast that fishing line. Ooh, yeah, you could tell. She was feeling it. She was starting to get into Liam. Liam comes up with a bookstore as another date idea, so he takes her to his favorite bookstore. On their way, they argue about whether miniature golf or bowling is a better date idea. What do you think? If you were going on a date, what do you think? Mini golf? Bowling? I don't know. I'm better at golf than I am at bowling. I'm terrible at bowling. I wouldn't be able to impress any woman, Bolden, that's for sure. He tries to convince her about how bookstores are great conversation starters. While looking around, she finds a novel that Liam wrote. She says, "What? You wrote a book?" He doesn't want her to see the book, so he takes all of his books and hides them on a shelf, and later we find out why. They sit down for a rest, and he sees her writing in her notebook. She tells him, "I carry this with me wherever I go, so that when I get a thought, I write it down before I can forget it." He says, "That's a great idea. I should have one of those." He finds her list, The Truths About Love. He says, "What are these, guidelines?" She says, "Truths." He says, "We need to discuss phase 2 of Operation Get Tom Back." And she says, "Oh, I almost forgot about him." She's obviously is enjoying spending time with Liam. Tom isn't on her mind as much now. He says our next move involves a little dressing up. He wants her to put on a fancy dress and have Tom see her in it. Her sister helps pick a dress out for her. She wrote notebook number 4, Love Means Being Yourself. She shows Liam her dress, and he likes it. He really likes it. It's a nice yellow dress, and she looks amazing. They plan a walk by for Tom with Karina in this yellow dress so he can see her looking fine. Liam tells her to make Tom think you are going out on a date and pretend that you are thinking about the guy that you are going to meet. And then he describes the guy she should be thinking about. And then he actually describes himself is what he does. Tom sees her. He is impressed. He stops and talks to her on his way to the gym. After Tom takes off, Karina says, "Now what do I do? I'm all dressed up and no place to go." Liam says, "Well, why don't we go out to dinner?" She says, "Okay." They go get some pizza, and Karina wants to know why he doesn't want anyone to know about his book. He says, "I poured my heart into that book. I spent a lot of time working on it, and it bombed." They share an emotional scene sitting on this park bench, and you can tell that Liam is beginning to develop feelings for her. He tells her, "I'm learning a lot from you," and says, "Even though I'm telling you to play games with Tom in order to get him back, I don't like playing games when it comes to romance and dating." He says, "I admire how you try to analyze and understand everything." She says, "I'm learning a lot from you too." Then she gets a text from Tom, which ruins their moment together. Tom says he wants to meet her for coffee. But she's not too excited. Number 5, love can be a choice. Liam gets a job offer from the place he used to work, and they want him back. He has a conversation with his dad. Liam tells his dad about the job offer, but he doesn't feel going back there is the right choice. He would like to stay. His dad asks, "How's the love and romance writing going?" Liam says, "We are getting along a lot better, and I like her. But I'm helping her to get back together with her ex-boyfriend." His father asks why. Liam says, "I'm not sure. I guess it started because I wanted to prove something to her." Now we realize, once again, Liam, he's starting to get into Karina. We see Karina playing cards with her family. She tells them she's going to bring Liam to their anniversary party as her +1. She tells her sister Tom wants to get back together. Her sister says, "Well, you don't seem very excited about that." Then she gets a text from Liam, and her sister says, "Oh, well, now you look excited." Karina says, "I'm headed to a bookstore. Come with." She goes back to the bookstore where she saw Liam's book, and she buys it. Then she stays up all night reading it. She tells her sister it's the best book she's ever read. Number 6, love can be a gift. She gives Liam a notebook because he mentioned to her earlier that he should carry a notebook with him like she does. She asks Do you want to go to my parents' anniversary party? He says, sure, it's a date. Then we get a funny scene here when their boss enters and their boss says, there is love and romance. And they turn around and they're like, what? What are you talking about? She says, the love and romance writing department, you know. And they're like, oh, yeah, right. Okay, I get it. Their boss wants Karina to continue the Me and T series because the readers are missing it. Or she says, come up with a new series. Liam suggests maybe they do a story about Karina getting Tom back, or one about Karina forgetting all about him and moving on. Number 7, love means being honest with each other. Karina meets Liam at his dad's garden to brainstorm ideas for this new article. They garden together. She tells him she read his book. She says it's fabulous. He says it was a waste of 5 years and it didn't amount to anything. She says those 5 years were not a waste. Think about it this way. They brought you to where you are today. And this is where you are supposed to be, with me, writing a romance article or column. He says, you told me you wanted to get back together with Tom because you have been together for a long time and you don't want to waste that time you spent with him. But what if the time you spent with him was meant to bring you to where you are today? He says, you shouldn't get back together with Tom. Uh-oh. Oh, and then she gets upset when he says that. I'm not sure why. I guess she really still wants to be with Tom, apparently. She says, you finished the speed dating article on your own. I'm out of here. So she leaves. Number 8, love can tempt you to hold on to the past. She meets with Tom, and he says, I want you back. Karina says, not so fast, bucko. I need to think things over. Liam walks by and sees them sitting at a table talking. He gets upset seeing them together. I guess he was hoping that she would change her mind about Tom. She goes to the office and Liam tells her congratulations on getting Tom back. Their boss tells everyone that Liam submitted a solo article for the website, 10 Reasons You Should Not Go Back to Him. Karina gets mad at him for submitting this article without telling her, and because she knows that the readers will realize the article is about her, and she doesn't want to look like a fool to her readers. They have a big argument in the break room. Liam packs up his desk, tells Karina he quit. He's going back to New York, to the place where he used to work. He says, let's face it, I was never a good fit here. He says, thank you. I learned a lot from you. You are an extraordinary writer. The boss gives Karina Liam's article to read and edit. She says it's a shame Liam is leaving. I thought you two had a good dynamic. Ooh, this scene right here in the break room. Yeah, that was a very emotional scene. When they're arguing back and forth, you could really feel that both of their hearts were breaking. Yeah, that was a good scene. Number 9, love can sometimes mean letting go. All right, hold on, I gotta check something. Okay, we're good. Now we are at the anniversary party. Tom shows up and he and Karina talk. He tells her again, I want you back. She says, no, you were right to end things between us. We aren't compatible. Then we see Liam gardening with his father. His father asks if he is leaving town to get away from Karina. Liam says she had a choice and she chose Tom over me. His dad asks, are you sure she knew she had a choice? His dad gives him some life advice and says, life is too short to take the easy way out. You ran away from your writing, and now you're running away from Karina. Number 10, love means taking a leap of faith. We see Karina's parents renewing their vows and Karina giving the speech that she wrote. She says, love can't be conquered. It can't be succeeded at. It can't be outsmarted. If you lose it, it doesn't mean that you failed. She says it can be scary, and then she looks up and sees Liam standing in the back, she smiles and says, "Love can show up when you least expect it." Then she and Liam talk. Liam says, "We are right for each other, and we should be together." He tells her he loves her and says, "I know you're with Tom, but I made a list of the reasons we should be together." She says, "I don't care about your list. I'm not with Tom. I want to be with you." And then she grabs him and plants a kiss on him. Oh, then we get a flash forward 6 months. Karina is taking time off to write a book, and Liam is going to take over the love and romance column. In a final article to her readers, she writes, "Love is a mystery and not something that can be mastered. It is unpredictable. It's imperfect. And if you are lucky, you will find someone who will live in the moment with you, someone who will tell you the truth and call it like it is, and love you for who you are. Love is not a game to be won or lost." And then in a voiceover, we hear her say, "The years I spent with Tom were not lost. They helped me to get to the place where I was meant to be." The movie ends with a title page that says, "Real truths about love. We are all just learning as we go." Hey, ain't that the truth? All right, let's get into it. I love this movie. This is one of those movies that I could watch multiple times and never get tired of it. In fact, I've already watched this movie multiple times. I love the voiceover throughout this movie, where she's writing in her notebook the truths about love. That was awesome. The chemistry in this movie is on fire. You could feel the sparks between the two leads every time they were on screen together. And you could also feel the anger and irritation at the beginning of the movie when they were irritated by each other. And you can definitely feel the electricity later on in the movie when they start caring about each other. I would have to say that this may be, oh man, in the top 3 as far as chemistry goes for the movies that we've seen this year. May even be number 1. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at some of the movies that the network has premiered so far this year. Now, the meet cute in this movie is really cute. I love him drinking out of her coffee cup and then insulting her job as a romance columnist. And I love when she slides the cup across the table to him, an empty cup, as if to say, "Give me my cup back, man." This movie has good background music, has good writing. The wardrobe is amazing. From jeans and a blouse to fancy dresses to pajamas, Camilla looks amazing throughout this movie. And I love the bright colored dresses that they have her in. I like the story about a guy helping a woman get back together with her ex, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the movie start to develop feelings for her, and then thinking, why am I helping her? Get her ex back. I want her for myself. I like how Karina's character learns lessons about love throughout the movie. She learns love isn't about looking good on paper or being with someone because you've spent years with them. She finds out love can be surprising. It's a gift. It's about being yourself, taking risks, letting go, not holding on to the past, and being honest. The themes of this movie are about, the 10 truths about love that she writes about. That's one of the themes. And also how you shouldn't try to get someone back after they break up with you, not always, because sometimes it's better to look elsewhere. Now, the conflict. All right, let's talk about the conflict. The conflict was Karina being embarrassed by the article that Liam wrote and afraid that she would look like a fool to her readers. Now, I think the conflict, well, I think, let me see if I can phrase this right. I thought that the conflict was going to be resolved by Karina reading Liam's article. And I thought in the article his article that he wrote, The 10 Reasons You Shouldn't Go Back to Him. I thought the number one reason was going to be because I love you. I thought he was going to write that in the article, thinking that Karina would read his article. So I was looking forward to that. I thought that's the way the conflict should have ended. But the conflict ended at her parents' anniversary party when Liam shows up. And I'm not really sure why she forgives him. He just shows up and she smiles and forgives him for no reason. But, that's the way the conflict in a lot of these movies always ends. It just kind of ends all of a sudden with really no reason behind it. The supporting cast was good. I liked the actress that played their boss. I thought she was entertaining. And the actress who plays Karina's sister, she had some really good facial expressions. I enjoyed her. Definitely double thumbs up for me on this movie. Let the network know what you thought of it. You can get on Great American Family's website at greatamericanfamily.com. There's a link that says movie review, and you can tell them what you thought of this movie and also what you thought about all of their other movies. Now, this movie re-airs again tomorrow, Saturday, September 16th at 6 o'clock Eastern, right before the premiere of, let me get my next slide up here, One Perfect Match. That premieres at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, and this one stars Merritt Patterson and Joshua Sass. It is about a professional matchmaker who must choose between her job and her heart when she falls for a client. And I have a trailer for this one. Let's take a look at it.
Perfect match.
Hi, I'm Lucy. Come on in.
Tell me about what you're looking for.
I have a list.
There's a perfect match for everyone. You just have to be open to finding them.
I think it's about time the matchmaker becomes the matched.
It will happen.
What's on the agenda today?
Hi.
Lucy Marks of One Perfect Match.
Please call me Finn.
Tell me a few qualities you are looking for in a relationship.
I know I have a checklist. Should I have a checklist?
It's actually quite refreshing.
Do you know if Lucy Marks has a boyfriend?
You like spending time with the matchmaker.
Wanted to know if maybe you thought there was someone else?
I'm still working on that.
You deserve love just as much as anybody else.
One perfect match. What does it mean to you?
I think it's someone who somehow...
Makes you feel at home. I think I found my one perfect match. Have you?
Oh, this looks like a good one. That's going to be good. Now, this movie was written by Ansley Gordon, who also wrote and starred in the Abigail Mysteries and also wrote Romance at the Vineyard. Now, besides watching the movie, you can live post tomorrow night on X along with the usual crew like Amanda and Sandra and Cat Loves Movies using the hashtag #OnePerfectMatch. And I will be there also. And next week, I will be recapping the movie. And until then, you have yourself a fantastic weekend. I will see you next week. You keep the faith, keep smiling, keep your friends close, and keep your great American family closer.